I landed from a red eye and walked straight into a scene that didn't belong to me. A stranger sat at my kitchen island wearing my robe, eating my granola, and pretending this was normal. My wife, Sabrina, stood by the coffee maker like a project manager about to run a meeting. "There's a new arrangement, Gray," she said. "Accept it, keep quiet, and we can all coexist. Or you can leave with whatever is actually yours." The man in my robe, his name was Trent, lifted the spoon like a toast. "Morning, sport. Sabrina said you wouldn't be back till later." I set my keys down, poured the coffee Sabrina had made for the two of them, and asked the only question that mattered for timing. "How long has this been in effect?" "Does it matter?" she said. "Decide if you can be adult about it." I nodded like I was considering paint colors instead of infidelity. "I'll start packing," I said. They both relaxed. That was the moment I took my first mental snapshot, two people feeling very clever. I wanted to remember those faces. What they didn't know was simple. For the last 2 years, I'd treated our shared life like a risk surface. The house, the cars, the furniture, the appliances, everything big flowed through my company, Luo Circular Systems. Sabrina called it my hobby. It was a real business with a real cap table, real board minutes, and a real valuation. The corporate entity owned the assets. Not us, not her. Not the arrangement. Upstairs, I texted 2 words to my team. "Mariner, go." How the hobby happened, I didn't set out to build an escape hatch from marriage. I set out to build better packaging. 7 years earlier, I was in the garage, sleep-deprived and inhaling too much solvent, trying to make a fiber material that could be broken down with a specific enzyme and remade at equal strength. True circular packaging. My first prototypes looked like soggy school projects. Suppliers laughed me out of offices, but regulations started shifting. A small grocery chain in the Northwest took a pilot, produce bags and deli containers for 3 stores. It worked. Word spread. 6 months later, I had meetings across the coast. A year after that, a national contract. 2 years after that, steady revenue. I learned 2 things from my mother's divorce. Assets must be titled correctly, and sentiment is not a hedge. With my old materials professor, Sloan Mercer, I built a bulletproof structure. Luo Circular Systems, LLC held the real estate as executive retreat housing, leased the vehicles as fleet, and purchased high-ticket household items as client hosting infrastructure. All of it above board, documented and insured as corporate property. Our personal marital world ran through a modest joint account. It covered groceries, a handful of bills, and Sabrina's personal spending. Sabrina thought the company was small. She liked that it bought things. She didn't care how it worked. Claudia's blueprint. The marriage didn't end with a late-night text. It ended with a curriculum. Sabrina found a circle run by a lifestyle strategist named Claudia Reyes who hosted elevation sessions. After the first one, Sabrina came home with language that sounded imported. My clothes were uninspired. My work routine was limiting her growth. My presence at home blocked her entertaining energy. My coffee-grinding habit somehow interfered with her personal expansion. Confrontation would have turned me into the villain in someone else's lesson plan. So I documented quietly. Dates, charges, travel, workshops, and sisterhood dinners. I backed up what was already on shared devices. I didn't read her messages. I preserved them. Meanwhile, I assembled my bench. Noor, CFO and forensic accountant, Marisol Park, business counsel, and later Mateo, OPS. I called our contingency Project Mariner. If the day came, the plan would be clean, fast, and legal. Day 1. Mariner, go. The morning after my kitchen revelation, I sat in Noor's Honda with coffee from a thermos while she worked her checklist like a launch director. "Personal stipend suspended at midnight," she said. "Corporate files watermarked. Vendor permissions reset. TROs filed to protect corporate property." Mateo texted, "Asset provenance complete. Purchase orders, board minutes, insurance riders, depreciation schedules, all linked." Gia from Ops prepped the documentation package, a binder that could stop a door. Sabrina texted me at noon. The insurance company called about the house. Policyholder verification. "Can you call them back?" "Corporate matter. Nor will handle," I replied. Silence. That night we set up in the warehouse conference room. Rafi, my oldest friend, brought Thai food. We worked, ate, and watched the system we'd built do exactly what it was designed to do: protect the company from unauthorized use, no matter who the unauthorized user was. Day 2. Gentle, lawful gravity. At 9 sharp, a moving truck arrived at the property, the company's property. I supervised like any other asset relocation: label printer, laser cutter, heat press, industrial scale, boxes of prototypes. Trent, still in my robe, came outside. "What's going on?" "Consolidating company equipment for an audit," I said. "True." Sabrina appeared dressed for a lifestyle shoot. "Gray, what is this?" "Corporate asset recovery," I said. Also true. Gia arrived with the binder. "Ms. Quinn, I have documents clarifying ownership of items on this property. We can review now or with your attorney." They leafed through contract after contract, deed in the LLC's name, vehicles under fleet leases, appliances and furniture as client hosting assets, insurance listing the company as policyholder, board minutes authorizing purchases. "This is about the house," Trent said. "Among other things," Gia said pleasantly. "Even the espresso machine." Claudia drove up in a white BMW, scarves and sunglasses in theater. "Sabrina, darling, I brought the color swatches." "You may want to hold on kitchen plans," I told her. "Property decisions go through the corporate board." Claudia looked around. Truck, binder, faces, and the script slipped from her hand. I texted Noor, stage 2. Vendor notices went out. Ms. Quinn no longer authorized on any accounts. Day 3. The knock process servers are punctual. At 9:12 a.m., the doorbell rang. 2 envelopes. Notice to vacate corporate premises. Cease and desist on unauthorized use. Divorce filing. Marisol stepped forward with the calm of a metronome. "Ms. Quinn, Mr. Alder, I represent Luo Circular Systems. Per filings on record, this residence is corporate housing. Your at-will guest status is terminated effective immediately." "This is community property," Sabrina said. "We've been married 8 years." "Community property covers marital assets," Marisol said, opening a folder. "Not corporate assets owned by a separate legal entity, formed prior to the marriage and maintained with separate structures." Trent tried another angle. There must be some claim. She was married while he built this. "Ms. Quinn has never been an employee, officer, board member, or shareholder," Marisol said. "No capital contributions. No management role. No wages, no equity." Then she added the line that broke their posture. "The most recent independent valuation, Morrison & Associates last month, places the business at $10, $3 million. Sabrina stepped back like the number pushed her. Trent blinked. "You have 24 hours to vacate," Marisol said. "After that, we'll coordinate with law enforcement." They stood on the porch with envelopes in hand and the dawning awareness that our life had never been structured the way they assumed. The meeting. That afternoon, we sat at my dining table like adversaries in a tidy merger. Sabrina had a family law attorney, Richard Steinberg, who expected a routine division of couches and retirement funds. Trent represented himself. Noor put our structure on the screen. Delaware LLC, majority ownership, 12 employees, 3 facilities, IP portfolio, contracts. A timeline showed the company incorporated 2 years before our wedding. Every major asset had a paper trail back to corporate approval, not personal savings. Steinberg tried to broaden the frame. "Surely there's spousal support based on the marital standard of living." Noor turned to another slide. Left column, my personal salary, modest and documented. Right column, joint account transfers and Sabrina's personal spending. "Spousal maintenance is assessed on personal income and needs," Noor said. "Corporate distributions are separate and discretionary." I slid a single page to their side. The valuations executive summary. $10, 3M, bold at the bottom. Sabrina stared at it like it used a foreign alphabet. $10 million? 10.3, I said. Conservative. With regulatory tailwinds, forecasts show 15 to 20 within 3 years. Outside, Sabrina took calls no one returned. Inside, Trent's phone started buzzing, his firm's compliance office. By evening, he'd been placed on administrative leave pending review of undisclosed conflicts. Dating a married client while giving informal financial guidance about living arrangements tends to trigger ethics codes. Claudia and the elevation circle went silent. No swatches, no dinners, no replies. By the next afternoon, Sabrina moved to Trent's studio. 2 days later, she moved again, to her sister's couch. The new arrangement was suddenly low on square footage. Court, quickly Judge Martinez had seen versions of this before. She skimmed our binders, then looked over her glasses at Steinberg. Counsel, your client appears to confuse brand presence with ownership. The residence and vehicles are corporate. Requests to treat corporate assets as marital property are denied. She ordered immediate vacation and warned against future claims on documented business property. It was clean, fast, and boring, the way good process should be. What remained, when the paperwork finally settled, Sabrina's side of the ledger was short and ordinary, a small personal checking balance, the remnants of an old 401k, some jewelry, and half of a modest joint account. In total, just under $15,000. The house remained where it always belonged, on the company balance sheet used by me as intended. The cars, furniture, art, and yes, the espresso machine stayed put. The business kept running. The people who depended on it kept their jobs. I started making bread on Sundays and taking a loaf to my neighbor, Mrs. Donnelly. She watched everything from her porch through this whole saga with the patience of someone who has seen decades of driveway drama. Told you that boy was quiet for a reason, she said the evening Sabrina left. 6 months later, I sit at the same island where Trent once tried on my life and sketch a container design that might replace polystyrene in deli cases. The master bedroom is a lab now, prototype rig, heat press, molds. The quiet is not empty. It's focused. We've hired 2 apprentices from the community college, bright, relentless, curious. I endowed a small scholarship in my mother's name for students in sustainable tech. Our patents are solid. A second manufacturing line is coming online next quarter. The new fiber tray holds hot soup, resists oil, and breaks down in municipal compost without fancy conditions. More important, it runs on existing equipment with minor retrofits. If the economics hold, adoption will be quick. Every few weeks, an unknown number calls and leaves a careful voicemail. I don't listen. Some conversations are better unwritten. I fix porch lights for Mrs. Donnelly, wave at the couple walking their dog at 8 every night, and hear the wheels of a teenager's skateboard tap, tap, tap across the driveway across the street. Ordinary sounds, the kind that say a life is working. People ask if I'm angry. I'm not. I was briefly the morning someone in my robe ate my breakfast and called it growth. Then the plan took over. Plans have a useful gravity. They pull the noise out of decisions. I accepted Sabrina's arrangement. I accepted that arrangements are just structures, and structures can be designed. Mine relies on paperwork, discipline, and accountability. It's built on clear titles, clean ledgers, and the idea that a business should be run like one. It funds apprenticeships and pays vendors on time and keeps promises to customers who expect our trays to hold soup without soaking through. I drink coffee from the machine she said was too complicated and look at the golden light sliding across the counter. My sketch shows a small fix to the fiber alignment at the inner rim. That should stop the micro leak at minute 12. There's a lot you can't control. You can control how your assets are titled, how your company is run, how you respond when someone tries to hand you a role in their script. I chose to step out of that scene and back into my own work. The robe is mine again. The house is quiet. The business is healthy. The design might work. That's enough.